Hello, Westside Christian Church family. Pastor Doug here. If I could just add to this past Sunday's message, why do you behave as you do? To me, probably the funniest sermon title that I've ever given there, because I do think that phrase is a little humorous, whether it was intended to be or not. If I could just add to that message, I probably would add some of the other biblical verses about discipline. These are well-known verses, things that lots of people can quote. In fact, after the message, someone came up to me and said, hey, you didn't mention spare the rod, spoil the child. So that would be one of them. Also, train up a child in the way he should go. Both of those are from Proverbs. And then you've got the Hebrews 12. We all had earthly fathers who disciplined us as they thought best, and we respected them for it. There's an entire passage about discipline there. Our earthly fathers are disciplining us, and God, our Heavenly Father, is disciplining us. Disciplining, that's a hard word to say, us as well. So yeah, I would have liked to have brought those in a little bit. I don't just want to give a litany of verses, because that's not very helpful in bringing us into Jesus' way of life. We need context there as well. So I don't always just lump a bunch of verses together, but there is an idea in those verses, particularly the Hebrews 12 passage, that I would have liked to have brought in, and that is that it is good to do this hard thing. We said discipline is hard, and that's why we are tempted not to do it sometimes, but we did say it's good, that it spares our children from future consequences. But if I could put those two together in kind of an entirely different idea, it is good to be hard at times. And I don't mean really being hard on our kids. I just mean it's good to do the hard thing of discipline. I have a little story that I think demonstrates this. I believe it comes from Call of the Wild. Jack London wrote Call of the Wild and White Fang, and they're both very similar about sled dogs in Alaska, and I get them confused. But I believe Call of the Wild, Buck, I believe, is the dog in that one. White Fang's the dog in the other one. And so Buck gets kidnapped, I think from San Francisco, California, where I used to be, and they take him up to Alaska, and he learns the hard way as he sees dogs dying and all kinds of things happening. Well, at one point in time, a group of gold rushers, people that were attracted there for the gold rush or the oil rush, whatever it was, they get a hold of Buck. They purchase him somewhere, and they don't know what they're doing, and they have to cross this vast terrain where there are no resources, and they have everything planned out correctly. Well, there's a lady who's with them, and she feels sorry for the dogs, and she keeps giving them extra little treats from their rations. Well, they're halfway across this expanse, and now they have nothing. And they just, because she has given them more out of sympathy, out of empathy, pity for them. She's given them more than what she should. Now they're stuck with nothing. That's a perfect example of how discipline, though hard, is good. It would have been better to say, this is all you get today. I cannot give you any more, even though you're asking for more, even though I want to give you more, even though it hurts me to not give you more. I can't give you any more, and that's going to turn out better because we're actually going to reach our destination. In fact, if you want the end of the story, I think what happened is that Buck just laid down one day and refused to move, and they cut him loose, and then they went a little further and they fell through the ice. I think that's what happened. And that's how Buck was saved and eventually makes his way to a better owner. I have thought about this a lot in the past 10 years. We think of God as being hard. Sometimes we think of him as being pitiless, as being merciless, as having no compassion, no empathy, no sympathy, because he allows these things come into our lives. How many times, why, you've heard this, why did God allow this to happen to me? And the answer to that question is because God is the really good dad who can do not only the good, but the hard. There are lots of good dads who can do good for their kids, but God is the really good dad who can not only do the good for his kids in the moment, but who can do the even better over the long haul, knowing that even better requires some pain, some sacrifice, some difficulty here in the beginning. Another story that I would have told, my mentor had his nephew for a while because his brother would not discipline the kid. So my mentor has him. He's making him do his homework, and eventually the brother comes back and takes him. And my mentor is like, listen, he's on a better track now. And his brother was like, well, he doesn't like doing homework, and I don't make him do it because I love him. Is he a good dad? Yeah, he's a good dad because he cares about his kid. Is he a really good dad? No, he's not. Because he won't make his kid do the hard thing to get the better thing later on in life. God is not just a good dad, he's a really good dad. He's going to allow us not only to have moments of joy, but moments of discipline, moments of training, moments of hardship that make us better in the future. That's a really good dad. That's the dad we have in our Heavenly Father. That's the dads and the moms and the spiritual parents that we need to be as believers. So I would have added that if I could have. Didn't get to, but I'm sharing it with you now. I thank you for giving me this little bit of time to do that, and I hope to see you again very soon.